All right, we are live. So welcome everybody to this live panel. I'm really excited and jazzed to be joined by three lawyers, three very entrepreneurial and savvy lawyers. And before I introduce them, or I'll actually let them introduce themselves so they can tell you a little bit about their law firms and what it is that they do. But before we launch into that, I really just wanted to sort of set the scene and say why we were doing this live panel. So we have been sending out some emails, my team and I, about the Scale Up 12-month program. And we've had a lot of great new members sign up in the last week or two, and we've had an absolute ton of questions about the program and, you know, wanting to sort of hear how other people are finding the program. So I thought a way to get a lot of those questions answered is to get some of our Scale Up members together with me to ask them some questions and for them to, you know, share what it is that they're working on and why they joined the program and what they're getting out of it. So that's what we are here to talk about. So look, thanks so much, Joe, Lucy and Martin for joining me. Rather than me introduce you guys are super good at this. So we've been practicing perfect intros for a while now. So can I ask each of you to, you know, just introduce yourselves and give us some info on, you know, your firm and your online legal solution. So Joe, do you want to kick off?
Absolutely. Hi everyone, I'm Jo Lilovich. I work with owner-operators to help them go from people problems to teams that get results. So I'm an employment lawyer based over in Perth, WA, working across Australia. My business is called 3D HR Legal. Although I've been lawyering for 20 years roughly, I've only had the business for the last 4 years. And effectively it's a, you know, boutique employment law practice.
Awesome, thanks Joe. Lucy, you're up next.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucy Percy and I help young families create a loving and secure future for their children, no matter what the future may bring. I'm a wills and estates lawyer in Melbourne, and this year with my new firm, I'm going to be providing estate planning services only. I've been a lawyer for 8 years, but I've actually been a parent for 7 of those years. So I've always had to work a little bit differently, having my first child straight after I got admitted. I've had my third baby, so opened my firm only 3 months ago when she was about 5 months old. So yeah, definitely looking forward to doing things a bit differently.
Awesome, thanks Lucy. And what about you, Martin?
Yeah, thank you. So I work with recruitment professionals and I help implement industry-tested business solutions to protect their bottom line and also fix legal problems that they don't want. So my law firm, Corvus Legal, is part of a two-person practice. My business partner is an HR professional, former employment lawyer. So we work together in corporate. So I've got about 12 years in corporate environments, general counsel roles, and private practice before that. So about 20 years like Joe as well as a lawyer, which blows my mind. Yeah, so I'm based in Melbourne, and Corvus has been around for about 2.5 years. So it, like Lucy, parallel, my first boy, Joel, arrived, and Corvus started at the same time. That was a lifestyle decision for me at that time to leave my corporate career behind and go out on my own.
Awesome, thanks Martin. So my first question is around what the challenges you were facing around the time you joined Scale Up. I know that most of our Scale Up members, when they do join, there can be quite a diverse range of challenges that they have. So it'd be good to hear about some of yours. So Lucy, do you want to tell us about some of the challenges you were facing around the time that you joined Scale Up?
Yeah, sure. I was really hyper aware that being a new business, I needed a really efficient way to get work in. So I didn't want to have to rely on referrals, where I had to have a relationship with a network person to person. So and I also just didn't want the cash flow bumps that come with spending a whole month following leads, getting referrals, and then doing the work, and then slumping down again. My husband had his own business for 8 years before I started mine, and I knew exactly what the lifestyle means when you don't have a consistent method to get work in the door and the work that you want. Definitely I felt like Scale Up would identify that, and so far so good.
And so I suppose the flip side of those challenges, what did you really want to achieve from joining the program?
My idea for my firm is that I don't want to employ people. I have enough going on in my own life. I want to be able to scale in a way that's just me. So using the Automio automation and streamlining my marketing, I want to be able to keep my firm small, but still really profitable and scale, that profit and the money coming in. That's what I'm really looking forward to doing.
Awesome. Thank you. And Jo, what about you? What were some of the challenges that you were facing?
Similar to Lucy, I have so far had a big reliance on referrals. It's never been a problem. Like, I've never really felt times in my business where they've been short on to the extent where I've been really worried. They've always kind of come in the door, but it's nice to have that evenness. And know that there's more consistency around income and cash flow. And it's also the lack of freedom that comes from, relying on those referrals. So you always sort of think that you need to be available to people, even when you're on holidays and that kind of thing. So that was the main reasons that I wanted to join Scale Up.
Cool. And what about you, Martin? What challenges were you facing in your firm?
Yeah, look, I'm the bog standard, feast or famine. So the lumpy cash flow, and spending a lot of time upskilling for one-off clients, and trying to do a lot of things. But I think the biggest thing for me is I was just really frustrated because I know I'm different in the sense that I've got a unique offering and I've got that in-house career. But I was really frustrated because I was just like everyone else. I couldn't find a way actually to be different. So, because we think like lawyers and we talk like lawyers. So that's probably the biggest thing, just being frustrated by that.
Yeah.
And not knowing how to get through that.
And what was it that you wanted to achieve? So
another good question. I've thought about this as well. So been a lawyer for 20 years and I've had a really good career, but I don't feel like I'm that proud of that. I've achieved something I'm really proud of for myself and left my mark. And so, yeah, that's probably it. It's just I want to, create something that's mine and that I'm proud of.
Yeah, awesome. And so just to follow on from that, Martin, why was it so important for you to achieve those things? Like, why is that so important to you?
I guess I left my corporate career because, I can tell you the story. I was driving down King Street in Melbourne and saw a bloke who was probably 60 walking in the rain in a suit. And that was a moment I thought, I don't want to do this, right? I don't want to be that person. He probably has a great job and he loves it. But I just didn't want to be that person walking down the street in a suit at 60. So the flip side of that was, or the extension of that is just to be able to create something that is important and useful and leave it for my son, to be something to be proud of and leave my mark.
Yeah. It's about legacy, isn't it?
Legacy, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and Jo, in terms of your signature solution, can you just tell us a little bit about it, and also like when you were designing it, because I know that you sort of in particular went on quite a journey when you were designing what it was, and sort of what you had in mind to start with was quite different to what you ended up with in terms of both sort of like the content and how it was packaged as well as the price. So I've got a question about pricing later on, but if you can just tell us about what it is and what did you consider when you were designing it?
The biggest impact for me was doing the Scale Up framework because up until that point, I'd never really been able to articulate really. I could tell you all the different bits and pieces of employment law that I do. There were always some bits that I didn't do and some that I was more focused on than others. But being able to put it all in a framework and say, this is how I, work with people through the course of an employment relationship was incredibly helpful. And I think to this date, that's been the most helpful thing for me. And then that created the foundation for the signature solution. So originally, when I was looking at the signature solution, my thoughts were around some sort of packaged employment contract product, because that is probably about 50% of my work is helping people with contracts and policies. So it seemed natural to focus on that area. But what I was concerned about was that by just giving someone a contract, and I'm not into just handing over templates anyway, but still, it still felt a bit like, here you go, run with it, and not enough help around implementing them or talking to employees about them or dealing with issues that might come up. So as I sort of delved more and more into it, I was finally able to create a retainer product, which would serve people from, setting up those essential foundations like contracts and policies, and then having the ability to, regularly assist them through the course over a 12-month period. So that I know that by the end of that 12 months, I've put in place the foundations for them, upskilled, the owner or their 2IC, and really got them set up to do their HR in a way that they feel comfortable with and empowered by.
Awesome. Yeah, I love how you've brought in some sort of non-traditional legal elements and with accountability and some coaching. And I think it's a really good example of how, automation often means technology, but it doesn't always. Really, overall, it just means that you don't necessarily have to do it. And you can systematize the bits that are one-on-one so that when they are done, they can either be done by you initially or someone else down the track who can do it to your standard because you've created such a great system and process around it. So I think that, your example of your signature solution is a really good one, because I do find that a lot of lawyers that I speak to, they can't think further than the technology. And this is about, technology coupled with, a productized service and a systematized service. So there's quite a lot of, elements that can be brought in. So I think it's a really great example of what you can do when you work the problem and you think about your ideal clients, their pain point and what result they actually really want in their own words. So yeah, thank you for sharing. What about you, Martin? Can you tell us a bit about your online legal solution and what you considered when you were designing it?
Yeah, so you make a really good point, because when I came to Automio as probably one of the earlier people, and I came to that way before Scale Up existed, and I came to it as a technology solution. And I just didn't get any traction because I just wasn't thinking about it the right way. So, and I have this philosophy, and my ultimate solution, where I'll get to is I don't want to charge for documents. It just frustrates me because it's the conversations you end up having. So for me, the technology within Automio is becoming the enabler and not it's not driving this. So it's, what's driving my signature solution, very similar to Joe, is a whole lot of documents within a package that helps implement a legal document. My clients don't wake up in the morning and say, yay, recruiters, they don't wake up in the morning and go, yay, I wish I had the best legal terms, That's just not how clients operate. And if there's anyone listening to this, all power to you. If you have that client, the job's done, right? None of us have that client. So, it's about actually implementing, because what's the point? Joe's absolutely spot on. And so many lawyers just get that wrong. Here's a document.
Nearly every lawyer I've ever met gets that wrong. So it's great that you've accepted that it's not about the document.
And I think that's my in-house, like having experience in-house as a legal buyer. I remember I spent 12 years buying legal services, so I've got that experience. And it's just, so my bundle is a whole bunch of documents. I call it a bundle because that's my solution. It's a whole bunch of documents which aren't necessarily legal at all. So, and the clients are responding really well to that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Martin. And what about you, Lucy? You've got a super fabulous signature solution. And while Joe's and Martin's solutions are B2B, Lucy has a B2C solution. So Lucy, can you tell us a bit about that and what you thought about when you designed it?
Sure. I feel like I had the idea in my mind before I knew about Automio or had my first call with Tim. And so when I spoke with him, I said, I know exactly what I want to do. For me, when I meet a client and we draft a will for them and we sign it, I've always thought, why aren't we getting them to leave a letter or leave something else for their loved ones that we can store with their will, so that when they die, we just have something to give them that's a more of a non-legal legacy. And I thought it just takes so much work to get these clients in the door. And, you know, even the time in between taking instructions and drafting and signing can be years. The inertia for the client is just so huge. And I just felt like we weren't getting them to do enough while they were in there. So talking about all the parts of the estate plan that are non-legal, which there's huge, you know, organise your digital assets, have the important conversations with your guardians, your executors, all that sort of thing. And I just felt like we really weren't capitalising on that opportunity with the client. And that actually at the end of the day, what the client wants from us is they want to leave that signing appointment feeling like everything will be okay if they did die. And I'm not convinced that walking in and signing a 2-page will and a power of attorney and whatever is going to help them leave feeling good. So I had the idea, and then, I don't know, as soon as I spoke to Tim, and the idea just really resonated well with your team, and that gave me confidence, because a few people have said, oh, well, that'll be a niche market. And I thought, that's fine, it probably will be, but your team were on board and excited about it. And I thought, great, you know, these people are going to be able to help me sell it.
Yeah, awesome. It's been great to watch the progress you guys have made around the design over the last few months. Let me just have a look at my questions. So this is a good question for you, Joe, and Martin, actually. So what has your experience been with pricing your signature solution? So Joe, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Obviously with the story that I just told about starting with one idea and then moving to another, it led to a complete different change with the pricing. So starting off with more of a document solution, as we were just talking about, although it was going to include a few extra things, you know, that was one price. And then the ultimate solution and that was a one-off thing. It was just buy this one package, you take it away and you're done. Whereas the solution that I ended up coming up with is a 12-month program. So there's subscription kind of membership, almost fee-based, in that they'll pay monthly amounts over the course of the 12 months. And it's anywhere from, you know, 7 to 10 times the original price that I was proposing to charge for the document-only sort of solution.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And what about you, Martin? Because I know you've sort of bounced around a bit with your price as well.
Yeah, so mine is a bundle. I've tripled my price. So yeah. I think 3 months ago I said I doubled it. As of last week, having sold a solution, I guess my signature solution, triple the price I was selling the one document 12, 18 months ago, you know, the same document. So just by adding that value, which was already in my arsenal, I've just had to put it together. So triple the price.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And that's a really good, this is a really interesting topic. It's one that I'm very passionate about. I know that as lawyers, when we think about automation and online legal solutions, we think bargain, basement, sell the document. And in my journey with my online legal solution, when I first started selling online conveyancing, it was very cheap. I thought that to be successful in the online world, it had to be convenient and cheap. But over time, I realized that people really valued the convenience and our like the way that we rolled out our services and the different sort of bits that we delivered with our service. And they really valued that, and we were able to, really add that value and increase our price over time to the point where we were sort of one of the most expensive online or conveyancing solutions around. But when you can explain the value and show the results, then you can charge a premium price. So it's a great it's sort of a great lesson to come out of pricing. And also, just if you're thinking of a price, I always think to start with, let's just double it and see what we can add in to justify it. It's as long as you can, add value that's worth that much, I think it's such a great thing to do for yourself and for your clients as well. All right. Next question. Lucy, I know that you have been really busy in the last couple of weeks implementing sort of your first, getting your first marketing funnel, your first marketing system going. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the webinar that you're doing?
Yep. So I've jumped right into the webinar model. So, I have faith that it will work. But one of the great things that I've learned is that you sell before you design or, you make it. So I thought of a webinar title, addressing a client's pain point, and I did an ad, made a landing page and put it out there on Facebook and Instagram and advertised it. And it was really quickly apparent that that was not a pain point that the clients needed addressing. So I literally just push pause. Thank God I hadn't written the webinar, I hadn't written any of the PowerPoints, and I just pushed pause and stopped. And I
love how you did a quick pivot there.
Yeah. I just redesigned the title and then put it back out there again. And I actually didn't write the slides until the day of the webinar because, the same thing could have happened the second time. I could have put it out there, done the ads, and again, no signups. So, I just like that you can, just give it a go.
Yeah.
No one dies if it's not right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can often be a bit of trial and error until you find how things resonate with your audience. And sometimes things that you think will be amazing are not, and things that you think are lame and average will just strike a chord, and you've just got to go with it.
Yeah.
Jo, can you tell me, so obviously, my Scale Up program is underpinned by the Scale Up framework, which I use to scale my law firm. And interestingly enough, I have discovered has allowed me to scale Automio as well, even though Automio, while it's a legal tech company, it's not like a law firm. But the Scale Up framework, can you tell me, what's your favorite part of it? So which is your favorite step that you've implemented in your firm?
Definitely making the model and designing the solution. Those two things sort of just, as I said earlier, came to me and were just so helpful in thinking about it. And every time I think now about ideas for the business and how I'm going to go about doing something or whether or not I will do something, I go back to that model to work out whether or not it actually fits. And the other thing that's been really helpful has been the strengths testing. I'm always a bit of a sucker for psych testing. Not that I, am crazy about it, but I like a good quiz basically. So doing a strengths test was really good, and I liked the ability to, it makes you realize things about yourself or perhaps accept things about yourself where you might like to challenge those things. And it made it really clear. It was saying in black and white what I already knew about myself, which makes you confront it, which then means that you need to do something about it. So for me, I'm really good at ideas and strategy and coming up with all of the things and talking to people, but then once I've started the project, I will lose my enthusiasm and I'll head off to the next thing, because that's what I love doing. So I've just had to confront that and accept that means I need to get people in to help me finish things off.
Yeah. And that's an empowering realization to, like, you can stop beating yourself up for being the way that you are, and you can work
I
out
still
a
beat myself up.
strategy. Yeah, you can work out a strategy and design your law firm around what you are good at, rather than, like, yeah, focusing on what you're not so good at. Cool. And what about you, Martin? Which was your favorite, or which is your favorite step of the Scale Up framework that you've used so far?
Yeah, I think working strengths as well, and also the promotion. So we had Clarissa Raywood last week, the happy family lawyer, who spoke to the group, the Scale Up group, and she said, you know, she made a really good point about sometimes I think lawyers are more worried about what other lawyers think rather than what their clients want. And I'd kind of already come to that realization. So promoting myself, using my strengths, which is public speaking and talking and communicating like Joe, not sitting behind a desk. So I've really used it, the opportunities, the framework, to get out in front of people, and it's really helped me get confident in my message and really just leave that baggage behind. I don't care what other lawyers think, I'll be honest, because it's not about them, it's about my clients.
Yeah.
So it's been really good. It's really helped. That promotion piece and authority and credibility piece has really helped me build confidence and build a great network.
Yeah. And building a brand where you can leave aside the worry about, what your colleagues might think, and really focus on your client is super empowering, and it's what it's all about anyway. So so that's super awesome. And what about you, Lucy? What's your favorite part of the Scale Up framework? Oh, can you hear me, Lucy? It looks like she's frozen. Yeah, I think she might have frozen. All right, she might join us again in a minute.
Oh, sorry, I'm back now.
Welcome back. I was just asking you what your favorite part of the Scale Up framework is.
That's easy. For me, tell your target, having a niche and then narrowing it again.
Yeah.
And, instead of insisting that they really want the documents, they don't, learning what they really want, and putting a strong message in everything that I do. So my clients don't have any urgency. Less than 50% of Australians have a will. We're all going to die. It just doesn't make sense. And so having help creating urgency in my messaging, and having the courage to say, well, that, my message isn't going to suit a, single career professional. It is for one target market only. And that's okay. I'm not going to lose out by just marketing to them.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Lucy. And Martin, do you want to tell us a bit about some of the results that you've had from being part of the Scale Up program and implementing the Scale Up framework?
Results. I'm starting to leave perfectionism behind. So there's one result personally, you just get on with it. No one's going to die, as someone just said. So yeah, that's unquantifiable.
Action.
That's something. It's an action, and just getting on with it. Client results have been fantastic. The personal branding has just been enormous for me. Just getting on with it and niching down. So Lucy's, that's a really good point. It's probably the most important point really for the framework, is just niching and niching again. That micro niche of a client base, you can just so many out there if you go looking. Once you get your niche, quality not quantity as well. So that's been a great result, and people are talking to me and ringing me and saying, we heard you speak about recruitment and law, and we've got a lawyer, but you know more about our industry. I hear that all the time now, so that's been a great result. And I don't talk about the automation. This is the other thing. I don't talk about it. I don't need to. Clients don't need to know that I've got automated systems behind.
Yeah.
They want personal.
No one cares about the tech. They care about the result.
Yeah, and they'll just want to have a price conversation then anyway, probably. So, but they just care about the result. So that's been really good as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've loved seeing you really build yourself up as an authority and an expert in your space. It's been really exciting to see. I've got one more question before we wrap up, and it is a finish this sentence question. So I nearly didn't join Scale Up because, Joe, we'll start with you. I know you need to rush off. So if you just can answer this and then go and be fabulous.
I almost didn't join Scale Up because I have done a lot of investment in the last few years to personally develop myself and learn more about running a business. And I was scared that it was just going to be just another, just another program or just another learning, and it wasn't actually going to help me implement anything. And I had come to the realization that I needed that implementation to happen, and I was wrong. I was right to join. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Awesome. And what about you, Lucy? I nearly didn't join Scale Up because
I had a 4-month-old baby, no childcare for her and the 3-year-old. And I just thought I was going to be too time poor. But I thought that if I joined and I didn't have the time to do everything and keep up with the weekly lessons, that I might just feel really bad about how slowly I was moving through the program. But I joined because your team and you were fabulous. So everything really resonated with me. I like accountability. So I thought, even if I'm only getting through 10% of what we're getting through, I'm still going to be better off in 12 months' time than if I hadn't joined and just sat and, was trying to figure things out on my own. I feel like I'm too time poor to do the work, but the work has to be done. Targeting the market, the webinars, any kind of lead magnet being developed has to be done. And I just love copying and pasting. Okay, here's the landing page, just copy it. Here's this, just copy it. It would take me so much longer to be figuring that out on my own. So
yeah,
it is a time investment, but I know that it's saving me time too.
Yeah, awesome. And Martin, what about you? I nearly didn't join Scale Up because
I thought I needed a perfect solution.
Yeah.
Or I didn't have one.
Yes.
Probably,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Waiting till it's perfect.
Waiting till it's perfect.
Yeah. And
Playing
waiting till you've got it all sorted out.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
it.
Cool. Okay. Look, that was all I had for you guys. Look, thanks so much. You guys inspire me every day with the way that you're putting yourselves out there and that you invest in yourselves. And I love working with you. So thank you so much for joining me today. And Martin, I'm not going to be seeing you at the retreat, but Joe and Lucy, really looking forward to catching up with you. So thank you again. All right.
Later.
See you later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.